begin with Commander Ronald Zaffi of the American Legion Chester Bird Post here in Golden Valley, leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Commander?
Thank you very much. If you don't I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commander. We'll be hearing from you a little bit later in our program. Again, I want to thank you all for coming this morning and helping us make this what we hope will be a continuing and ongoing event in our community life. As many of you know, we began our Hall of Fame about a year and a half ago in December of 2011 in connection with the 125th anniversary of Golden Valley, and it was one of our signature events of that year-long celebration. We continue that and are now working with the Golden Valley Days community group to try to integrate our program with Golden Valley Days, which reminds me to remind you that this is really the launch or the kickoff of our two-day Golden Valley Days community celebration. A number of activities are planned for all day tomorrow. Many of you have heard about them or read about them. And I just want to remind you to try to partake in as many of the Golden Valley Days activities tomorrow, Saturday, May 18th, starting with the breakfast and the parade and a full day of activities at the recreational outdoor facility here at Brookview. So I hope you can join us all on May 18th, tomorrow, for the rest of the balance of Golden Valley Days. We know it's Golden Valley Days when we get this kind of weather. We're always welcomed here with it seems like almost every time Golden Valley Days over the past few years have been have had to overcome some weather problems, but I hope tomorrow will be a nice day for the parade. I want to just thank a few folks who have helped contribute to the Hall of Fame in this program. I just want to introduce the members of our Hall of Fame committee. We worked hard at putting together this program, and most of them are here. Blair Tremere, Nancy Azam, Sharon Soike, Dee Dee Scanlon, Don Anderson. We have been involved for the last year and a half putting together the Hall of Fame and putting together this program, and it's so many different activities in Golden Valley reflect. This was a lot of hard work by a lot of volunteers who really put in a lot of time and effort to bring this about. I want to thank them. I also want to thank the Golden Valley City Council. The Mayor Harris, is going to make a few remarks in a few moments. The city has been very supportive of our program, which is run through our Golden Valley Envision and Connections Board programs. But we want to thank the city staff for the work they've done in particular, but not to the exclusion of others. Cheryl Weiler, the communications manager for the city, and Lindsay Fabrizio, who does graphic and design work for the city. Other staff people have been very helpful, as has the mayor and the city council in being supportive. And the city manager, Tom Burt, has also been very helpful in this activity and other related activities. Feel free to enjoy the program today. We do have food in the back, as you all saw. We want to thank Town and Country Catering for the catering and the food here this morning. Town and Country Catering has provided the food for the program this morning. As I indicated, this is our second go-round with our Hall of Fame induction, and the 4 people who will be inducted into our Hall of Fame this year will join our illustrious first class from the Hall of Fame, which was last year in connection with the 125th anniversary. The previous Hall of Fame recipients or inductees are world-renowned musician Philip Brunel, Don Byerly of the Byerly's Grocery fame, Betty Crocker, General Mills icon, Gleason Glover, internationally known civil rights leader, and Robert Provost, military hero from World War II and a leader in the insurance industry. That was our first class of inductees. This year's class will join them. There actually is a Hall of Fame facility in Golden Valley. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it is located on the second floor of the Golden Valley City Hall. As you come up the stairs, you will see the actual plaques for the Hall of Fame, and there's also a photo display that'll be a rotating photo display with the members of the Hall of Fame. So it actually has a physical embodiment as well. We are pleased and privileged this morning to have as our MC a well-known member of our community, Ann Gallagher from Channel 12, and Ann will be joining me in a moment to take over the rest of the program and introduce our various speakers. Before I do that, I just want to mention one more thing about our Golden Valley Hall of Fame, and that is, what is the Hall of Fame and why do we have one? Well, we have one because we have felt for some period of time that we should try to honor individuals who have been affiliated with Golden Valley, either by living here or working here or had some other significant relationship with our community, and have achieved fame or renown in a positive way for themselves and for Golden Valley. This is not a service award that we give out, although that's valuable and important, and many of our recipients have done significant community service. But our intent in the Hall of Fame is to recognize people of renown, people of significance, people who have made contributions and have achieved some degree of fame. That's what our Hall of Fame is all about, and that's why we work so hard to try to put together a diverse and multifaceted group of people who are deserving of induction into our Golden Valley Hall of Fame. Deserving of our attention for the rest of the morning is Ann Gallagher. Here's Ann as the MC of our program. Ann is a respected and veteran journalist who has worked in many different venues and currently is a producer, reporter, writer, and all-around gadfly for cable channel 12, Northwest Communications. You've all seen her many times. And if you haven't seen her on television, you've probably seen her around in the community because she seems to cover just about everything in our community in the Northwest suburbs. And we're pleased to have Ann Gallagher as our MC this morning. Ann?
Thank you so much, Marshall. And among the stories that we have covered is, of course, all of the great things that are happening in Golden Valley in Vision Connection. And it was just a couple of months ago that we were doing an interview at City Hall about this event. So it's really such a great honor to be a part of it and to be standing here now that everything is up and running. And so we will just get this show on the road with Mayor Shep Harris. I'm excited to introduce him as our first speaker to kind of kick things off. And again, this just kicks off such a fun weekend with Golden Valley Days and whatnot. And hopefully the weather will agree with us as the day progresses. But Mayor Shep Harris, I will turn it over to you. Thank you again. This is going to be a great day.
Oh, well, good morning. What a great way. Hey, buddy, how you doing? How many trucks you got there? Sorry, I love teasing kids. They're fun. Good morning. This is a great way to kick off the 10th annual Golden Valley Days celebration. I'm so thrilled to have you guys here, and I'm really excited to be here to be a witness to just yet another chapter in the city's fascinating history. Whenever I get the chance, and in fact, I was just talking with Doug Ewald over here and the family, so he'll back me up on this. Whenever I get the chance to talk about Golden Valley, I talk about our wonderful features. What are we known for? And how can we toot our horn in a sense? And when I talk and meet with leaders around the metro area and around the state, I talk about our wonderful features. Our prime metro location, our safe neighborhoods, our beautiful parks, trails, of course Bassett Creek, our successful schools, and finally, but to me most importantly, our truly remarkable people. And with future events like this, my belief is that more people will soon come to see the rich history of Golden Valley as one of those additional features that makes Golden Valley so admired. And we have our Golden Valley Hall of Fame Selection Committee to thank today for that. I am so appreciative of your efforts. Just for those, I know Marshall did mention, of course Marshall didn't mention himself, but everybody, please raise your hand again so you can see who's on that selection committee. And folks, can we just give them a round of applause for this? Now, as you heard, they're members of the Golden Valley Community Foundation. They're on the Envision Connection Project Board through the city, and I sincerely appreciate your time, your effort, your dedication to celebrating the history of our community. Of course, I want to congratulate this year's Hall of Fame inductees and their families. We are very honored to have you here. It's a very special occasion. It means a lot to our community, and I was thinking about this. I really was thinking about this for quite some time. It means a lot to me personally. Like last year's first class of inductees, I see these individuals as a reflection of all of us. I see these individuals as a reflection of Golden Valley. And if you think about it, the reflection of who we've been. where we've come from. They're a reflection of who we are today, and frankly, who we want to be in the future. And I look at these lists of inductees and I think of heroes, humanitarians, pioneers, artists. But then I look deeper. I see courage. I see bravery, vision, purpose, business savvy, intellect, and creativity. And it gets me really excited because I think that's what we celebrate, because that's who we are, and that's what makes Golden Valley great. And you can tell I get a little charged up about this, and maybe even a little sappy about it. But I believe that that truly makes a difference. When I'm talking with leaders around our state, I see that that's truly a difference in the quality of the community. It makes the difference in the quality of the community. And we shouldn't take that for granted. And I don't think we do. And especially today, I don't think we do. So to our honorees and to our family and to their families, I want to thank you for setting that standard high and for making us proud to call you one of our own. So thanks again to the selection committee. Thank you to the city, to the Community Foundation, and to all of you for coming today and celebrating this next chapter in our history. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Shep Harrison. We are now going to call up Dean Penk with the Golden Valley Community Foundation. Again, an integral part of making this happen today, and so happy to introduce him. He will give a few words, and then we will get on to the awards.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Dean Pink. I am chairperson for the Golden Valley Community Foundation. It's a 2-year organization dedicated to helping fund events that take place in Golden Valley that help build on our idea of community. Thank you very much for attending. I appreciate that. Congratulations to all the families of the awardees. We're honored to sponsor this event with the city's help, the city facilities, as well as the foundation funding makes this possible. The foundation, again, is set up to support events like this, and it's a 2-year-old organization that is established with 3 organizations here in Golden Valley that are involved with human services, community events, and the organizations like Bridge Builders in Golden Valley. One of the things that we do is fund the event for tomorrow, which is Saturday, the Golden Valley Days event, and this is part of that. We're very happy to have this as part of that. One of the things we do is fund, and from that point, I don't want to be shy about it, but we have donation container and back if you would help us with that, if you feel free to do that. You can also get on our website. There's a lot of things on your table that have Golden Valley Foundation name on it. So if you're looking at our website, you'll find more of the things that we sponsor, the pens, and there's some information on there, so you can find Golden Valley Community Foundation just by looking at those documents and pens. Thanks very much for coming. Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dean, and we will now move forward with learning a little bit more about our 4 Hall of Fame award winners and those who will be accepting the plaque. And I also have another little surprise back here that I'll be presenting to you as well. So we're excited to just get started with that. And our first one, Chester Bird. Chester Piatzik was one of thousands of Americans who sacrificed his life for his country in World War II. He was known by his nickname, Chester Bird, as Piatzik is a Polish derivative of bird. Chester served in the U.S. Army 29th Infantry 115th Regiment, which was part of the first wave of more than 32,450 soldiers to storm Omaha Beach in Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. This was the very beach depicted in the now famous movie Saving Private Ryan. More than 2,000 soldiers were killed the first day alone, but 35-year-old Chester was not one of them. Chester's 115th Regiment continued into Belgium and later culminated its service in the capture of Germany. Chester was reporting missing in action from July 29th until reported killed in action in France, August 1st, 1944. The American Legion chartered Post 523 in February 1946 and dedicated it to Private Chester Piatzik, or Chester Bird, who served with honor and dedication and paid the ultimate price for the freedom of our nation. Golden Valley thanks Chester Bird for his service and sacrifice to his country. And accepting the award on Chester Bird's behalf is Commander Ron Zotby, who also led us earlier in the Pledge of Allegiance. Commander Ron Zotby. It's your special surprise.
Appreciate it.
And here's the plaque and with certificate that commemorates Chester Bird's induction into our Hall of Fame. Thank you for being here to accept on his behalf, Commander, and perhaps you'd like to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Marshall. I sure appreciate that. I just want to say one thing as I'm sitting there, and I see this MIA POW flag. It's not just for Chester. It's for every person who served and did not return to this homeland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commander Zotby. Our second award winner, Larry Brown. Larry Brown spent his life working to improve and enrich his community and the world beyond. While growing up in North Minneapolis, Larry spent considerable time at the Phyllis Wheatley Settlement House, which he credited with much of his later success. After graduating from North High in 1937, he attended Mankato State College on a football scholarship. He was drafted into the U.S. Army in 1942 and spent World War II serving in a segregated unit in North Africa, Sicily, and Italy until he was wounded. Over the years, Larry coached football and baseball in Brooklyn Park, youth baseball in Golden Valley, and was an assistant football coach at North High for 7 years. He also volunteered as a coach and mentor at Phyllis Wheatley, tutored in the Minneapolis public schools, and helped promote the Red Tail Project. He is perhaps most well known as one of the 3 original founders of the Ronald McDonald House in Minneapolis, which opened its first facility in 1979. Larry recognized the need for housing for parents of hospitalized children in the early 60s when his daughter was being treated for leukemia at the University of Minnesota Hospital. Once again, he chose to act. Larry and his wife Jo lived in Golden Valley for nearly 43 years and raised 3 children here. Golden Valley is grateful to Larry Brown for his many contributions to our society, and we would like to call up Ms. Alice Jo Brown, Larry Brown's widow.
Grab your cup here.
And there is
Oh, very nice.
hanging in your beautiful house there in Golden Valley.
Thank you.
Care to say a few words?
I'm gonna let my son-in-law.
I'm Tom Weiss. I'm Larry's son-in-law, and Joe's asked me to say a couple things. We just like to thank the committee and thank Mayor and thank Golden Valley. You know, Larry loved a lot of things in his life. One was baseball, one was his family, and one was Golden Valley. And Golden Valley is a special place, and he is proud to be associated with such a nice unit of inductees. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And our third Hall of Fame inductee Christopher Ewald. Christopher Ewald was just 16 years old and fairly new to America when he bought the milk route that marked the beginning of Ewald Brothers Dairy, a business that was to serve Golden Valley and the surrounding area for nearly 100 years. In 1884, Chris, his mother, and 4 siblings left Denmark for America, where his mother felt sure there would be opportunities. Chris was 14 and unable to speak English. Being the eldest of the boys, he secured a job on a milk delivery route in Minneapolis to help provide for his family. 2 years later, he purchased the route and began delivering milk with his younger brother, John. At the time, the Ewalds herded their cattle around Lake Hiawatha and what is now known as the Hiawatha Golf Course. The Ewald brothers continue to grow their business by promoting high service and quality, never merging with other dairies to expand. Competing with more than 200 other local creameries, the Ewald family deliver milk to 1 out of 3 customers taking home delivery. At their peak, they produced more than 50,000 gallons of milk per day. In his later years, Chris enjoyed sitting atop Golden Valley Road near Xerxes Avenue to watch his drivers return from the routes in a thriving business he had built from a single wagon and horse. He died in 1938, leaving the future of the business in the hands of his 4 sons. Golden Valley thanks Christopher Ewald for benefiting the community with his pioneering and entrepreneurial spirit. And we would like to call up Mr. Doug Ewald, who is the grandson of Christopher.
I've never met an all-around gadfly
Wait, Doug,
before.
we have to
Oh.
present you with the family's official certificate on behalf of your grandfather.
Thank you very much to the Golden Valley Hall of Fame. I am proud to accept this on behalf of my grandfather. Chris died just a few months after my birth, so we really did not get to know each other at all. But I participated in the company that he established and imbued in his boys, the second youngest of whom, Ray, was my father. I and my brother are, as we called it, sons of brothers. Chris imbued a spirit of quality and integrity in his sons and in his business. And as was said earlier, the company, had it not been sold, would have reached the 100-year point in a very short time. Again, I would like to thank the Golden Valley Hall of Fame. As a member of the 3rd generation, I simply cannot avoid mentioning the fact that my wife, Jenny, of 54 years, and I have 6 children. We're very proud of whom all are present today. And I had to figure it out twice to realize if I'm the 3rd generation, then we have representatives of the 4th, 5th, and the little roll eater, the 6th generation of the Ewald family here. We're very proud of Golden Valley. We're proud of our relationship to Golden Valley, and most all of the Ewalds at one time or another have been residents of Golden Valley, as have we. Again, thank you very much for the honor, and we will treasure it. I do want you to know we have a son who several years ago took it upon himself to establish what I call the Ewald Brothers Museum. I know that several of you have visited
the museum in Bill's house. Bill and Roxy live just west of here. And it will be my honor to present this to Bill to be proudly hung on the wall in the museum that he has started. Again, thank you for the recognition.
Thank you so much, Doug. And our final inductee for this morning is Clayton Moore. Clayton Moore spent much of his life entertaining the public, gaining fame and earning hero status with generations of American youngsters as the star of the pioneering television series The Lone Ranger. Born Jack Carlton Moore in 1914, Clayton started as a circus acrobat at a young age and eventually performed with the Trapeze Act at the Chicago World's Fair in 1934. He worked as a model in Chicago and New York before leaving for Hollywood in 1937. He appeared in more than 70 motion pictures, as well as serving in the Army Air Force during World War II. When The Lone Ranger began its television run in 1949, Clayton played the lead role for 221 episodes until the show ended in 1957. In 1964, Clayton moved to Golden Valley with his wife and daughter to be closer to his wife's family in Minneapolis. He obtained a Minnesota real estate license and planned to establish Ranger Realty with a relative. Clayton continued to portray the Lone Ranger in promotional appearances nationwide, and the family eventually moved back to California. His biography, I Was That Masked Man, recounts his successful challenge of efforts by a movie producer to bar him from portraying the Lone Ranger. Public and private accounts agree that Clayton truly transcended the fictional character and strived to live according to the virtues of the Lone Ranger creed. Golden Valley acknowledges Clayton Moore for enriching many lives with his performances. And we would like to call up the cousin of Don Moore, who was Clayton's daughter, Mr. Joel Bacul.
Make sure that Dawn gets that out in California.
Well, thank you. I would like to, in representing my my cousin Dawn, also introduce my sister Bonnie, who came with me. We all knew Clayton before Dawn. I'd like to read a letter that Dawn sent, and she would like to have been here today, but she's actually doing some personal appearances for the upcoming movie, and she asked me to ask all of you to please go to the movie. She loves it. Said, I was so delighted to learn of Golden Valley's decision to honor my father, Clayton Moore, with this year's induction into the Hall of Fame. I know both he and particularly my mother would have been as thrilled as I am. Although I was only 5 or 6 years old, I remember our family's years here during the 1960s as chock full of events. Art classes and tornadoes during the summer, snow angels and lethal pointy icicles in the winter, and yes, exactly what I was told not to do. I put my tongue on a frozen metal handrail at school and immediately got stuck. For my dad's part, he managed to make headlines rescuing a hapless grocer from a robbery, made appearances at my birthday party as the masked man, concocted Halloween special effects for the community with dry ice and a cauldron, and then for who knows what reason, he tried his hand at real estate, cleverly naming it Ranger Realty. I imagine the neighboring families will remember our baby blue house, hopefully repainted a respectable color by now. I drove by it this morning, it's brown. That I believe was part of the original development of Ewald Terrace on Rhode Island. Our move to Minnesota was in fact prompted by my mother, whose family immigrated here in 1912. Her maternal pride drove us from California to the land of 10,000 lakes to spend my wonder years getting to know her side of the family. I am often asked, what was it like growing up as the daughter of the Lone Ranger? And I have to say, Dad was every bit of who the public believed him to be. courteous and fair, ready and able to step in and help anyone who needed it. He fully understood the influence he had portraying a 19th century Western lawman in the 20th century, and the conscientiousness of responsibility has been validated 100-fold in the fan mail that continues to find its way to me in the 21st century. Fan mail from policemen, firemen, and teachers, people who have chosen professions that either serve or protect others because of his influence on them as children. I would say that's quite a profound imprint on both American pop culture and American values. The Lone Ranger has actually become more of a mentor to me as an adult, but my father was Clayton Moore, a handsome prankster, married to a beautiful former model, Sally Baccool, and I'm very proud of his legacy and very, very proud of his induction into Golden Valley's Hall of Fame. Two quick remarks. He used to come to town in the 50s when he was doing his show, and it was a constant lineup at our house. He put on his whole outfit, spin his guns, the kids would come in the front door, get an autograph, and out the back door. And he would do it every year, and if the church wanted him to do it again the next day, he'd do it again the next day. The creed, which you've all seen, is something he lived by, and he did present that to President Nixon in the 60s in the White House. But he has lived by the creed, and you all have a copy, and it fits right into our Pledge of Allegiance and to what all the other inductees have done to earn their presence here. I thank you very much for the award, from my uncle and from my cousin Don and my sister Bonnie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joel and Bonnie, and we've got somebody else who is also going to provide some kind of fun behind-the-scenes stories, which is a former neighbor. Her name is Barbara Crowley, and we would like to call her up to share a few more memories of Clayton Moore, the Moore family, and the Lone Ranger.
Well, the Moores wanted to buy a house in Golden Valley, and Tom DeCola had a good reputation in the community, but they wanted a larger one than what was for sale. So they rented a house while a larger house was built for them. When they moved, we bought it. The Lone Ranger's family did not leave the house like some rental places. It was immaculately clean and no trash. I had their daughter in my brownie group and Girl Scouts too, and she was a very good kid. She wasn't a brat or anything, she just was a nice kid. And the Lone Ranger, used to be nice to the boys in the neighborhood. He'd do rope tricks in the summer for them out on the driveway. And sometimes when they were especially good, he'd give one a silver bullet. He was well liked, and so was the family. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone. Some really wonderful reflections on all of our inductees. And that is going to conclude this morning's ceremony. Thank you all again so much for coming here, and hopefully a great kickoff to Golden Valley Days, something to look forward to this weekend. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ann. We're not quite concluded yet, but we are concluded with the induction ceremony. And we do appreciate everything that Channel 12 and you have done for our community and being here today. And thank you again to all of our inductees. We do have a couple of family members from our past, our initial induction program. I just want to recognize them. Sharon Glover, the wife of Gleason Glover, and her daughter are here, and I'd like just to ask you to stand up and we can greet you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here. As probably goes without saying, so I'll say it, you probably have seen the programs that are on the tables. We have our Golden Valley pens. There are some tablets. You can take those with you. Please feel free to take the tablets, which are remnants from the 125th anniversary, the pens promoting Golden Valley Days, our big all-day celebration tomorrow. Hope you can attend that. Hope we have good weather. Also, as Joel was mentioning, the Lone Ranger Credo is on the table there, and you can take that with you and memorize it and live by it. Before we wrap up, and please feel free to stay around, have some more refreshments and mingle and network a little bit. We have the room till 10:30, so we paid for it till 10:30. Actually, we didn't pay for it. We have it graciously donated to us by the City of Golden Valley. And there's a couple things I overlooked before, and Dean Pink mentioned it, but the Golden Valley Community Foundation is sponsoring and helping to support and pay for this event. I think they deserve particular thank you for all the hard work that they do for this event and for other events, and Dean himself is the head of that organization and also a member of our Golden Valley Hall of Fame committee. Say hello to Dean on your way out and drop something in the donation box if you'd be so kind. The committee our Hall of Fame committee is often asked, well, how do you do your work and how does one get into the Hall of Fame now that we've described what the criteria are? Well, we intend to continue this process in the future. This isn't our last Hall of Fame induction. We will have more, either every year, perhaps every other year, but we will continue this as a staple in the community. We have our nomination forms available. They're online. They're available at City Hall. They're available by talking to committee members, and we try to make sure that everybody who has a suggestion or a recommendation or a nominee gets heard. They're pretty easy to fill out. You fill out the name and the person's affiliation with Golden Valley and why you think they ought to be in the Hall of Fame. And our committee reviews those, and we have to make some difficult decisions. Not everybody can be inducted, but we had a real large number of very good and solid recommendations and nominees, and we'll keep some of them for future use, but the nominations are open at any time, and we'll announce the deadlines for next year's program. But please feel free to check out our website and look at the nomination form. If you have anyone you'd like to nominate, feel free to do it. We have a dialogue, we have meetings, and try to talk to other people, canvass the community, and get a feel for who we think is most deserving of induction into our Golden Valley Hall of Fame. People ask, well, how did this person get in, and why didn't this person get in? And we can't justify each and every one of them, but we do really deliberate and think about it and try to be as inclusive and diverse as we can. But we also look for people who have achieved fame, renown, and have contributed positively to our community. For instance, one person asked me this year, well, why the Lone Ranger? Well, you heard why the Lone Ranger. And my response to that person was, well, Tonto doesn't live in Golden Valley. So we do want to have some connection. And one of the people who has really been behind this from the beginning, and I just want to recognize him and have him say a few closing words, is Blair Tremere. A lot of good things, as the mayor indicated, take place in Golden Valley. Many of you participate in them. I've had the privilege of being involved in a number of activities over the years, and there's not a single good activity that goes on in Golden Valley that I'm aware of in which Blair Tremere is not either there at the beginning, middle, or after the event or activity takes place. Blair has contributed tremendously in terms of time, resources, money, and other contributions to this event and other events. And I'd like Blair just to be recognized and talk a little bit about our Golden Valley Hall of Fame committee and some other activities that he's involved in. And we also want to have Blair show you the actual Hall of Fame plaque. So here's Blair Tremere.
Thank you very much. I think with the chores that I have, let me do this first, and then we'll have it up here so you can come and see it close up. Kind of pretend there's a piece of velvet cloth over this, and I've just pulled it away. This is the Hall of Fame plaque that is mounted on the wall at City Hall in a prominent location as you come up the stairs or come out the elevator at the second floor. And we've now added the 4 inductees who've now been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So there's a total of 9 now, and since this was started a couple of years ago. And there's some information engraved on it. And so you can come up and take a look at that. That's the Hall of Fame plaque. Next, I'd like to surprise our MC, Mistress of Ceremonies, Ann Gallagher, with the official mug. Ann produces a show on cable channel 12, which I realize isn't available to everybody, but you can see it online if you go to their website and Community Corner. And she presents several times a week, maybe 5 times a week sometimes, it seems, but vignettes about different communities in the 9-community TV coverage area. The other comment I'd like to make is that the Hall of Fame has a significance beyond just a Hall of Fame. It's one of the components of many things that have evolved since the Envision Connection project was established by the City Council in the, about 10 years ago. A little less than 10 years ago, a little less than 10 years ago. And it takes a lot of hard work by a lot of people. There's many other things that occur in the community as a result of that. The Hall of Fame actually sprung out of the planning for the city's 125th anniversary in 2011. And that also included a time capsule, which is up at City Hall. But the Hall of Fame caught on, and as Marshall indicated, it evolves from input from the community who make nominations. We have some guiding criteria for what constitutes fame, and that's a challenge in itself to define that. And we also have the Envision Award, or Visi Award as some people call it, which you can see up at City Hall, which is more oriented towards people who've performed extraordinary service for the community. And finally, it's quite an experience being involved in this. You learn a lot about the families, whether you thought you knew about them or not, such as Ewalds. I met many people, including Joel, and I haven't met the sister yet, but I've met many people as a result of Clayton Moore's connection, as well as Mr. Brown, and of course Chester Bird. And Chester Bird, of course, has been prominent in the sense that he's the namesake of the American Legion Post in the city, and many people don't even know what Chester Bird refers to. Well, hopefully this will help resolve that. Finally, on the Lone Ranger and Clayton Moore, I guess I'd like to attest, since it was one of the 4 that I particularly researched, I got to know his daughter Dawn, who has fond memories as a little girl, a little older than this fella, but a little girl. I think she was just starting grade school, as I recall, in Golden Valley, but she has fond memories of living here, and of course she has relatives, and just a host of personal stories about Clayton Moore that I'll be glad to share with people later on, but they're just funny and they're warm, and many people, including Ms. Crawley, who called me, had great stories of memories of being a neighbor. Same with Mr. Brown. I met him when I was mayor of Golden Valley, and I didn't know, shame on me, but I did not know because he didn't talk about it a lot, his involvement with the Ronald McDonald House, for which he's very well known. So I've learned about that. And of course the Ewald family, I thought it was significant this time about the connection, no pun intended, of the fact that one of the first things that I learned about Clayton Moore was his involvement with Dewey Ewald, is that correct? And the real estate venture that they thought they might get involved in, because it might not be the very first house, but the house at 105 Rhode Island was one of the first built in the Ewald Terrace subdivision. And Dawn sent me, by the way, some black and white pictures that I'll be glad to share with you of the house back when she lived in it, and when it was that blue color that she apparently didn't care for. Anyway, you learn things like that from the community, and people connect with that, and that's my message. This is part of the connection project that the city's all about. You being here, just the fact that this exists, and hopefully will continue, and I guess I've been very proud to be part of it, and thank all the people that were involved. Thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Thank you all the participants and everybody who's here. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We hope to see you around next time we have the next Hall of Fame induction. See you tomorrow at the rest of Golden Valley Days. Thank you.